I ended up ODing 16 times in a 4-month period off of fentanyl.
Jesus, man.
16 times. It was like, you know,
That shit is
every
so scary.
every time, dude, it was just like it wasn't it was settling in on me. Like you've OD'd this many times, you're trying to kill yourself.
All right. Today we have Josh Fessler. We connected at that minimum security prison that I worked at when you made your trip through there. And I remember having a lot of personal one-on-one conversations with you, but I've never heard your whole story, right,
Yeah.
from beginning to end. So I'm excited to
Yeah,
hear
it's a
that
rough
today. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
coming out.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. We're gonna start with your childhood, man. Where were you born and raised, and how'd your childhood look?
I was born and raised Columbus, Ohio, on the west side of Columbus. I was living with my mom when I was younger because her and dad got divorced. Uh, and after, dad and mom got divorced, there was really no father figure around or, any kind of guidance surrounding my life because of what they went through.
How old were you when they divorced?
I was probably like 6 years old.
Okay,
Yeah,
young,
so I was really young and didn't get to see the mother and father figures that you're supposed to grow up to. No structure was there for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So the divorce happens early. Who do you live with?
I went and stayed with mom,
Okay.
and she had a boyfriend, and they were together for ever since I was a kid. Grew up to him. He was my stepdad. Lived in the Bottoms with him on the west side.
With your mom?
Yeah. And grew up down there, not so good of a neighborhood, around the projects
Sure.
towards the downtown. And yeah, I started skateboarding, was skating down there, and I met some friends and some neighbors and started to go that route, hanging with friends down there. And um, yeah, and after we lived in the Bottoms for I'd say about 10 years of my life.
Explain to the viewers what the Bottoms is
The
like.
Bottoms is like the bottom of the hills. Why we call it the Bottoms? Because you have the hilltop, then you have the Bottoms of Columbus. The hilltop is a little nicer, but not so nice now. But the Bottoms was always like the trashier, nastier drugs and
Not like an affluent
yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah, not like
It's
nothing fluent, nothing nice. It was always a struggle down there.
you were seeing things at a young age that
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't have
Yeah.
seen. Essentially,
Mom and stepdad were smoking weed when I
Okay.
was young, so I got to see that a lot, like visually seeing them smoking. So
They
I
would
grew up
smoke
thinking it
in
was,
front of you.
yeah, I grew up thinking it was okay, just for them to smoke in front of me. I didn't know about it.
How old were you when they were smoking in front of you?
I'd say about 12, 13
Okay.
maybe. Thought it was normal. Didn't think about what it was because I was young. I just knew it was different.
And your parents
smell.
are doing it,
Yeah,
so like,
I just
can't.
knew it was a different smell. So,
Yeah.
and they always told me to go away. Sometimes they wouldn't care, but there was just no structure with my parents. That's where all my problems started. If I had like a foundation, like how you build a house. You can't build a house without a foundation. Well, you can't raise a kid without foundation is how I seen it.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and
Tell, tell me about school.
school.
Yeah.
I went to Sullivan Elementary in the Bottoms
Holy
of the West
moly.
Side.
I didn't know Sullivan Elementary was a thing.
Yeah, it's next door to the projects as well.
What was that like?
I grew up around a lot of black kids,
Okay.
and I adapted to, that kind of environment.
The culture.
Yeah, the culture,
Sure.
and around that type of era. Well, it's just normal to see people driving with big cars next door with rims on them, or you can tell what they're doing in the parking lot at that age. They're selling drugs
Yep.
in the parking lot right next door to a school. They didn't care. So I've seen that a lot in my life. Seen a lot of drug deals when I was a kid. So I just thought it was normal. Grew up to it. Well, when I let's see. After, my parents and everybody, we moved from the bottoms after 10 years about staying down there. Moved up to the hilltop by Georgesville,
Okay.
M&S, Augusta Avenue,
Okay.
and stayed there for a little while. I got a job at Taco Bell
Okay.
right there on Georgesville and worked there for a while.
Did
And
you you got through school? You
yeah,
graduated high school?
I didn't get through high school, but I went to Briggs High School on the west side of Columbus, and I was there freshman year. I started off playing football.
Okay.
Freshman year football.
So you're an active kid.
Yeah, I was very active. Loved sports. Loved to be outside. Loved to ride my bike, skateboard, anything to keep me busy because my mind was always racing. Mine was always wanting to do something. So I got into the sports and met some people in high school. Well, they started to smoke, and I wanted to be cool, so I started hanging out with them, smoking weed every day across the street from Briggs, then going
How
in.
old were you when that started?
15.
And that was your first like real exposure to
15 to
drugs.
start smoking weed, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, started smoking weed, and I was on the football team, remind you. I'm freshman year, 2-a-days, football practice.
Yep.
I'm getting ready
You're
to
a
be set
bitch.
on the football team, right?
Yep.
Well, I started hanging out with these guys, started smoking weed, and I just dropped out of school, dude. Like, I started being angry, didn't want
Oh,
to
you
go
dropped out
Yeah, I dropped out of high school freshman year.
freshman year.
Didn't even go through with the football thing or anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
Or why do you think?
with my mindset, when I want to do something, I want to do it and do more of it. So when I started smoking weed, I wanted to do more. I didn't want to go to school. I just wanted to hang out and smoke weed all day. It's what I was used to
I
seeing
get
growing
that.
up as a kid. Mom smoking,
Yeah.
and seeing it was normal. So school is what I thought. I just wanted to smoke weed every day. So that's what I did. That was my mindset. I dropped out of school. I didn't have no education, and all I did was smoke weed. So it didn't get me nowhere for a while.
Okay, so you're 15, you drop out of school.
hmm
You're smoking weed every day. What happens next?
Okay. So then 16. I was 16 years old when I first went to Juvenile Detention Center in
Okay.
Franklin County. I met a friend, and he wanted to hang out with some girls and one night, and he wanted to get some Steel Reserves 211s. And that's an alcohol beverage.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
picked up
We know,
about
we know.
8 of them, okay? And his mom got them for us. At the time, we're underage. We can't buy it, so his mom got them. Well, in the car, when we left the drive-thru, he's like, crack one open, and chug it before we get there. So we got a buzz, I'm like, all right. So we crack one open, and I chug it. Right when we get out of the car, I throw up. And it immediately hits me a head rush. I'm fucked up off that Steel Reserve. So we start walking down the street. We drink another one. I'm still throwing up at the time because this ain't settled right. It's nasty. It's disgusting. It's got me all nauseous. So chug another one. We throw up walking down the street. We get into the house. And we got like 6 of them left, because we got a bag full of them. And put them in the fridge. They put some music on. We're hanging out, dancing, drinking some 211s, which is disgusting, and having a good old time. It was like, hey, it's a party.
party.
16 years
Yeah.
old, we're having fun.
Time of your life.
Next thing you know, I'm feeling a little nauseous after moving. This is like when Soldier Boy came out, and everybody's like,
Okay,
crank that
yep,
Soldier
yep.
Boy. So we're all dancing. I get nauseous. I go outside because I feel like I'm going to throw up.
I thought you were gonna fucking tell me you were hitting this crank that Soldier Boy
I
dance
was
and threw,
in the
and
living
threw
room.
up in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's what made me nauseous. So I go outside because I was really nauseous, man, and I obviously wasn't paying attention where I was walking, and I stumbled upon these LED lights, solar panel lights that light up the sidewalk on the neighbor's house.
Okay.
Okay, so she's got her sidewalk lit up with these LED lights.
Sure.
I stumble out the front door and knock a couple of them over. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm throwing up in the yard. She calls the cops, and I didn't know she called the cops at first, but she called
Till
the
they
cops.
got there.
Yeah, and I'm sitting outside throwing up, and my friend tells me, "Come inside, man. It's all right." So I come back inside. 5 minutes later, not even, there's a knock at the door, and we look out the people, and it's the police. So I'm like, fuck, we're at a party. There's no parents. It's all
Yep.
kids. We're getting drunk. This doesn't look good. Well, at the time, I had a temporary ID because I was
Okay.
16 years old.
Mhm.
I was getting my temps. I didn't go through with that either, but we'll get into that. So I had my temporary ID, and the cops come to the door, and they want to see everybody, and we didn't want to open the door at all. So me and my friend tried to run out the back door.
Okay.
Well, as soon as we opened the back door, Columbus police was sitting there too. They're like, "Hey, dumbasses, we got the house surrounded. You're not going nowhere, you know."
Of course.
So I'm like, we shut the door, and then they just opened the front door. So after we seen them, after we opened the back door, we slammed the door shut in their face and come back in. So they opened the door out front, and the cops want everybody to come out. Well, I go outside, and they want my name. And I'm scared as hell because I ain't never been in trouble before by the law. Here I am,
This is your
16,
first
yeah.
interaction.
Here
Okay.
I am, 16 years old, drunk, plastered, throwing up, and not even being coherent with society at the moment. So the cops want to know my name, and I'm scared. I didn't want to tell them, so I threw my ID down my leg. So I didn't think they were going to find it. So I just lied about my name to them.
So what'd you tell him your name was? Do you remember?
I don't.
You just
remember.
made up a name?
Yeah, I just made up a name.
And you didn't know that was a crime?
No, I didn't know I was going to get in trouble for it. I didn't think that it was going to, come back, hey, that's a false name, you're lying about your name. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't think it was going to come up, know. So I told them a false name. I don't remember what it was, and they said, what did they tell me? They said, that's not your name. He says, the girl already over there told us your name. He says, now, do you want to try again and tell me your name? And I told him, I said, no, that's my name. I don't know that girl. I don't know what she's talking about. Well, they found out my name because they wanted to pat me down before they put me in a cruiser because I was intoxicated at a young age. They wanted to take me.
Found your ID.
Yeah, so they patted me down. They found my ID. I'm in the cop car, and this is the middle of winter. Like, it's cold outside, and it's not nice out. So I get put in the cop car. And after I got patted down and they found my ID, I'm in the cop car sitting there, and all of a sudden that heat is blasting.
Are you scared? Like, are you?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Of course. I am freaking out thinking, my parents are going to find out.
My life is over.
My life is over. I'm going to prison forever because
yep.
I'm drunk as a kid, and I'm not supposed to. I know I ain't supposed to. So I'm sitting in that cop car, man, scared for my life, thinking, my life is over with. And he got that heat blasted, and back then they had the cages. Okay, so you could see through the cages. It wasn't the glass, because there wasn't much of a problem. People spitting on through the whatever. So the heat's turned up in that cop car, man, and I'm feeling really nauseous, dude. I'm gonna throw up. And I told the cop, hey, can you turn the heat down? He says, no, it's cold. I threw up through that fucking cage. All over that cop's right shoulder,
You're
dude.
lying.
No, all over his right shoulder, his hat that was sitting there, all over his computer. When we pulled in downtown into the garage for Juvenile, he got off that out of his cop car, and he pulled me out. He says, if I wasn't on duty right now, I'd fuck you up. He was pretty pissed.
I mean, I'd be pissed
but I
too.
warned him, hey,
well, that's the thing.
I'm
You told
drunk,
him.
I'm not feeling good. Can you roll the window down a little bit, turn the heat down? There was no cooperation with that, so I was just forced to exorcism.
So you literally just threw up through
and I didn't get charged for it for throwing up on him because it wasn't something I could control. They didn't charge me for it.
Right.
But I did go in, and they did charge me with a disturbing the peace because I knocked that lady's lights over, and I was being loud outside, supposedly. They got me for underage consumption.
Okay.
They got me for falsification.
Because you lied about
your
ID.
They got me for trying to flee from the police because we tried to run out the back door and then slam the door in their face.
Oh, my God.
And then I got hit with a...
How are you getting 5 charges out of this?
I got 5 charges out of it, dude. I sat 6 months. My first time ever in jail. I sat 6 months in Juvenile.
Tell me about Juvenile. I never have been.
Okay,
tell me what it's like.
Juvenile, it was... I went in there at nighttime, so there was no mats, there was nowhere to sleep, they were full, so I was going in there, and I had a blanket, and we made a bed on the floor, and they were so crowded, there wasn't, no space to even, you had to step over people. So I stayed in there the first night, okay, because I was still drunk, and, I woke up with a hangover. I wasn't really coherent that much when I got brought to jail. So when I woke up, I was locked somewhere that I couldn't get out. And it was setting into me like, shit, I f***ed up, one night just ruined it all for me. And so I sat there 6 months. They have card games in there. You know, I didn't know anything about it, but I try to keep myself busy. I played card games with
Hmm.
people. Um,
Is there fights in juvie like in
yeah,
the county jail? Like
there is.
what's that look like?
Uh, it just depends, man.
Because those younger guys, those
There's
younger
guys
cats
in
can get
there
crazy.
that are hot headed. There's guys in there that just want to chill and don't be bothered. There's guys in there that want to be tough. There's guys in there that are bullies. There's all different types of people that are in jail. You never know what you're going to get
Yeah.
into or who you're going to run into, talk to, or say the wrong thing to.
Yep.
So yeah, I didn't really want to talk to nobody, and I was a little scared. I ain't gonna lie, because it's my first time.
Well, yeah, yeah, I
So
understand that. That
I
100%.
seen a couple guys sitting at the table playing cards, and one day I just walked over there and sat down and started playing cards, and we all just play cards every night. Well, it got worse because I didn't know that I thought they were my friends. At that age, I was
You're
just
young.
thought they were my
Yep.
friends. They invited me to play cards all the time. We were cool.
These are my guys.
Well, there was this older guy that was maybe a year older than me, 17, I
Okay.
think at the time he was in there, and we were playing cards, and I won, and he was really mad because he had to give up his milk, and he didn't want to give up his milk. And when we got done with that card game, I went to walk off there's a two-step, and then down to the doors where your cell is and
Okay.
everything. There's like a two-step little drop down, and I was walking out that two-step, man, and this guy super punched me in the back of the head and broke my jaw, and I my face
Over a cup of milk.
over a card game. So if that tells you how people are in jail,
Yeah.
over a
No, I've
milk.
seen it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he jumped off them steps and Superman punched me in the back of the head and like right here by the ear and broke my jaw. Well, they put me in my cell that night and kept us separated the next day. Next day comes along, and nurse wanted to come to me and check me out. She said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm not okay." I said, "My whole right side of the face is numb. I can't feel it." They didn't want to listen. Well, a couple more days go by after that, and I still couldn't feel my face. I had a phone call to my mom, and I told my mom about it, and she wanted to press the issue with the news team and everything about the jail not wanting to take me to get
Right.
my health looked
Not
at.
not doing
Something
something about
seriously
it.
could have been wrong,
Yep.
but they didn't care. I was just laying in there. They put the flashlight in the window, make sure I'm all right, and keep walking. They didn't care. So being in jail is a little ruthless. They don't care about you. They're there for, themselves. They're not there to help us, honestly. I didn't think they were at the
I
time.
I understand
At
that.
that time in my
Yeah.
life, I
No.
didn't think
Totally.
that. So the issue got pressed, and um, they actually took me to Children's Hospital with my mom calling and complaining so much about it. And my jaw wasn't broken like I thought it was.
Mhm.
My face was fractured. He
Okay.
had fractured the right side of my cheekbone
Mhm.
all the way down, so it caused my face to go numb. At that time, I thought he hit me hard enough to
Sure.
break my shit.
Sure. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I was scared. I didn't really want to be there. And after that incident happened, when I go back, I only had probably maybe 2 months left
Mhm.
of juvenile time to do. And I got out of there, and they wanted to place me in a foster home. They
Okay.
didn't want me to go home because of the alcohol, and they wanted cops and children's services got involved in this with my mom because me being drunk and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Children's services got involved. They took me after I got out of jail. I went to a foster home in Sugar Grove, Lancaster.
So they took you away from your family.
Yep.
Okay. So you move into a foster home and
16 years old. I was taken away from my family and put in a foster home. I stayed out there for a little while. Foster mom had a farm and ranch with
okay,
horses.
this is just crazy to me because you're not, I mean, you're not an adult, you're not 18
Right.
technically, but you're 16 and you're moving in with these people you don't know.
hmm I was scared. Yeah, foster family. I didn't want to be away from my family, period. But for some given reason, my dad didn't want to stop smoking weed for children's services to pass a drug test. So my dad stayed away from the whole ordeal.
Yep.
And then at the time, my mom was trying to do the right thing, but her boyfriend was still smoking weed and drinking. It was a consistent drinking night for him. Like, he couldn't go a night without a 12-pack
Yep.
or, 6 tall boys or something to keep
And
him.
this is stepdad or
Yeah,
biological?
stepdad.
Okay.
Stepdad. So, um, yeah.
Tell me about the foster home.
Okay, so yeah, they took me to the foster home, and she had a nice big house, and
Okay.
I felt welcome. Rather than feeling scared, I felt like this is going to be okay, but at the same time, I didn't really want to be there.
Sure.
So I felt it out. They took me shopping, got me a whole bunch of clothes, did everything for me. Like, I lived a all right life until I wanted to run away. I ran
How?
away 54 miles from Sugar Grove, Lancaster to Columbus. I walked.
16, 17?
16 years old.
How long did you
Walked.
stay there before you left?
Maybe 2.5 months, 3 months maybe.
Okay,
I
and what
left.
what sparked that?
What sparked me to leave?
Yeah, like you're 3 months in, these people are taking care of you.
Um, well, before, if you want me to jump back, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Before I got drunk that night, I was messing with a girl that was out on Livingston Avenue.
Okay.
And in the hood, like Cushing, Kennard, Livingston, and
Okay.
Barnett, like gang-related territory. And I was messing with a girl out there, and I would skip school rather than go and go smoke weed out there. As I was saying in the beginning, I didn't want to go to school. I just wanted to smoke. I'd go out there, hang out with her. She was homeschooled. She ended up getting pregnant, okay? And I was in a foster home, and I didn't want to be there because she was having my baby. I wanted
Okay.
to see my kid.
Okay.
And
So you found out she was pregnant.
Yeah, I
with
found
your
out.
child.
Yep, and I knew she was pregnant the whole time as I was locked up, and all that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to run away and just go be there because I don't know. It's just I didn't want to be at home with my family. I didn't want to be with no other friends. I just wanted to be, out there away from everybody because it wasn't on the west side. It wasn't, in the bottoms. It
Mhm.
wasn't where everybody knew me at. So I got away. I went out there, and I got a girl pregnant, and I was in foster care. I ran away to go be with her, and I couldn't stay at her house that night when I got there. After I ran away from foster care, I got to her house. I couldn't stay there. I wasn't allowed. Her parents wouldn't let me. They were mad I ran away. They knew what was up. Next thing you know, my mom and everybody knew that I ran away too because they had called.
I was gonna say, are there repercussions for this? Like, can you get in trouble for this?
Yeah, so I'm getting there. So
Okay.
when they called my mom and told my mom that, I ran away and he's here and, I was forced to leave because they didn't want me there, and her parents didn't like me. The baby mom's parents didn't like me. And so they did everything in their will to try to keep me away or keep her away from me, to make sure that I wasn't going to be around this kid that she was having. Well,
Your kid.
yeah, my kid, my son that she was
Yeah.
having.
Right.
And I didn't really care what they thought. I was going to do what I wanted to do, and I was going to go where I wanted to go. Nobody could tell me nothing.
Yep.
I was very hard-headed at a young age, and yeah, I didn't care. So they didn't want me there. I walked away. I left. After I had a little incident, of an outburst of some things, I told them, "F you, all that types of shit, and walked off. Well, my mom picks me up, takes me back to the house, and I'm still a runaway at this time, still on the run. Mom takes me back to her house. She says, "You can crash here tonight, make you a bed and crash here." All right, so I thought mom was on my side. Mom wants me home. Okay, mom's going to shelter me and
Sure.
let me come back home. Well, next morning I get woken up to a sheriff kicking me in the foot, saying, "Come on, Fessler, it's time to go." I woke up and mom's sitting there crying next to the sheriff, and I'm like, "Really, Mom?
She
You
called.
just turned me in." Mom called, turned me in. She had no option other than to give me up because if they didn't tell the police that I was there,
They could have gotten in
they
trouble.
would have gotten in trouble for,
Yeah.
it's like aiding and
Aiding
abetting
and
a
abetting,
fugitive,
yeah.
But so yeah, they came in and got me up off the ground, put me back in the cop car, and he says, "All right, I'm taking you back." I said, "I just walked 54 miles, all the way to Columbus. That's a long fucking walk, dude." And I just get brought back like I didn't even walk it. So I get taken back there, and my foster mom's standing out in the driveway. And I guess the sheriff knew her, and she knew the sheriff pretty well.
Really?
She says to the sheriff, I don't want him. You can take him to jail.
Oh, dude.
I pleaded to her. I said, I am so sorry. I will never do it again.
Oh, dude.
You know, fed him that, and she says, all right, I'll give him one more chance. She gave me another chance. It went really good. It did. It went really good until, you know, she didn't want to be a foster parent no more. Her and her husband at the time were getting a divorce. They divorced, and she didn't want to be a foster parent no more. So they stopped doing it. I got picked up from out there by CPS and taken to downtown Columbus CPS headquarters, Children's Services headquarters downtown.
Yep.
I'm sitting there in the little, the kid area where they put the kids until they go where they're going. I sat in there for a whole day till they could find me a placement because I wasn't allowed to go home. They found me a placement out there on 5th Avenue in a group home.
Really?
5th Avenue was the second spot I went to.
Wait, before you get into this, how long did it take you to walk 54 miles?
Man, I would say all night, man. I didn't get there. I left probably 8:30 and didn't get there until like 2 a.m.
8:30 a.m. to 2 a.m.?
No, p.m. to a.m.
Next day?
Yeah, in the morning.
Yeah, so it took you like
24.
No. 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
till 2 a.m. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2.
Okay,
Like
so
6
that was
hours. Like 6 hour hike for me, yeah. I got stopped by one guy.
Are you sure that's right?
6 hours.
Because I don't think that's possible.
Bro, it was when my foster parents locked me in my room at 8 o'clock. I waited a few minutes before I knew they went upstairs to lay down, and I jumped out my bedroom window because it was ground level, so I could just slide it and crawl out to the ground. And
You were in
that's
Lancaster?
yeah, Sugar Grove.
Yeah, because it's a 43-minute drive. It's a 13-hour walk.
Well, maybe it was.
I thought it was longer than 13. So okay, so it was.
But yeah.
So you were in the right
Yeah.
ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up walking that, but when I'm walking that freeway, dude, I didn't want to be close to the road. So, I was off to the side, like to the grass area, away from it in case I didn't want to get hit by a car or anything.
Yep.
Or I didn't want sheriff or cops to see me and say, hey, why are you walking the freeway?
Yeah.
We're taking you back where you go.
Yeah.
And so I stayed off to the edge, but this one guy stopped on the side of the road after he passed me. He put his hazards on and stayed ahead of me. And I'm thinking at this time, I'm a teenager. I'm thinking somebody's going to kidnap me. Like when I get up to this car,
Sure.
this guy was standing outside his car and I got up there and he said, hey man, you want to ride? And I'm like, no, thank you. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. He's like, where you going? I said, I'm going to Columbus. He said, that's a long walk. You sure you don't want to ride? I said, yeah, I'm sure. I didn't get in the car with that guy.
Okay.
So yeah, I walked it, man, and got brought back, and later
She gave you a second chance.
yeah, and then later they stopped doing foster care. I went to a group home off of 5th Avenue, and it was Crip territory. This is
Okay.
when I got introduced to
We're out in Columbus on 5th. Are we talking
5th Avenue, close to there's a
east?
Bella Flora Flowers warehouse right there off of 5th Avenue. If you're going east, you're going
It's
to
east.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
East 5th.
Not a great part of town.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
So you're in Crip territory.
Crip territory at the time, and this is my first time being around gangs or any violence of that type.
And you're still a kid,
and
17,
yeah,
16, 17?
still, 16 still, and I got taken to this group home, and with all these new clothes that I just got from my foster parents took me shopping and shoes and everything.
Sure.
Like had a lot of clothes. I get taken to this group home, and they want to check your belongings when you come in, count what you got. Well, they did all that. They gave me my stuff back, and I take my stuff up to the room. Well, I found out there's bunk beds. There's 3 different bunk beds in this bedroom. So that means there's 6 people sleeping in here.
Jeez.
Well, I go in there and I put my bag under, my bed. They told me where my bed was. Well, the guy that was laying on my bottom rack didn't like that he had to go up top. And
so they moved him.
They moved him because That wasn't his placement was up top to begin with. Like they were, that's how it was. And I got the bottom rack, and he wasn't too happy about it, I guess. And I put my stuff under the bed, like in my suitcase and everything. And I go downstairs to watch TV with everybody else. Well, it's really a loud and obnoxious area. Like everybody's just,
Oh, dude, I can only
it's
imagine.
crazy,
Yeah. It's a
and everybody's playing
madhouse.
board games or trying to talk on the phone or cook something in the kitchen because at the time you're allowed to cook like microwavable stuff. You
Sure.
got a can of raviolis or some noodles, you could heat them up. Well, I go downstairs, I go to hang out with everybody and watch TV and, play games or whatever. And that night, go upstairs, go to bed to change on my clothes, and I was missing over half of my shit. And they wanted to
Homie,
do a room search, see who took my
homie
shit.
got your shit.
They wanted to do a room search, man, see who took my shit. Well, they did a room search, and homie that had to give up the rack took my shit. They separated us because after that, it caused an incident. It was fighting after that because
You,
he
you and
he wanted to
dude.
fight because he got caught taking my
Right.
shit. Well, they wanted to keep us separated because this is like like a government facility type
Sure.
whatever. So they wanted to keep us separated. So there was two houses on that block that were group homes. So they moved him over to the other one and kept me there. Well, there was no problems after that. Like we were separated. None of my stuff came missing. It was cool. Well, group home lasted, let's see, probably about 8 months after the foster home.
Okay.
Was in there for about 8 months in a group home, and they wanted me to go to Maryhaven
Okay.
before I went home.
So they wanted you to go
They
to
wanted
treatment.
me to go to treatment.
Why?
Because of my alcohol.
Okay.
That was in the system, me being underage, drinking, and they
this
thought I
this
had an
is
alcohol
stemming
problem.
from the previous charges, or this is you still having an issue?
Still, this is still
Okay.
the whole issue.
Okay.
Okay, so they wanted me to go to Maryhaven to do treatment there. After the group homes and everything, they still wanted me to do treatment. Well, it was locked down in there for 6 months. So my teenage years were like I was always locked down or group homes, foster care, like
Jail.
somebody was in jail. People were always trying to figure me out, but it's it was a long journey, and so I got into Maryhaven, and they do like group meetings.
Yep.
You go in and talk and
Yeah.
say what you're in for, and well, I was doing that all the time, attending group, and my mom later down the line when it was time for me to get released, my mom had got clean.
Okay.
My mom had got sober. My mom had got me back.
Your mom was mainly
My
weed and
support.
alcohol.
Yeah, she was my support too. Yeah, but she was mainly the weed.
Okay.
Okay.
And so she got completely clean.
Yeah, she got completely clean. Dad was still smoking weed. Dad couldn't get custody of me because they wanted, urinalysis from him.
Yep.
And at the time, like, it was like weed was a crime to smoke, when it wasn't.
Right.
But at that time, mom got clean and she got me back.
Which was I'm sure relief
Was
for
a relief,
you and
yeah,
her.
man. I was glad to be home.
Because now you're both in a better place.
Yeah, both in a better place. Mom's got a new boyfriend. She wasn't with the same guy no more.
Okay.
And they were doing good. Mom was a bartender.
Okay.
So she, Blueberry Hill in Columbus, she was the bartender.
Okay.
She did karaoke night. She liked to sing, but Mom was always around the drugs. Mom was always around the alcohol, So me going and seeing Mom, at her work or, being offered, hey, you want a drink, bub, or something? Yeah, sure. Washington Apple. I'll take it. So Mom was feeding me alcohol at a young age too, and I mean, it was like I don't know, like I said in the beginning, man, there was no foundation in the beginning of my life. So
Do you feel like with the drinking you were trying to like escape yourself, or like just
I tried to be cool.
okay?
I wanted to
So
fit
it was
in,
like it was like a
yeah.
belonging thing.
I wanted to fit in like everybody else,
Yep.
And I wanted to do what everybody else was doing at the time. Well,
What you thought everybody
yeah,
else
I
was
thought it
doing.
was okay. I thought it was cool, and later on it didn't seem like that. But after Mom got me back, we lived in Holly Hill,
Okay.
in Columbus still. up by Georgesville. Lived in Holly Hill, and my brother had some friends that, I just met for the first time coming home. Didn't know anybody because I've been gone for, about a year or over a year now. Well, I come home and, I'm not a tough guy or anything, but my brother introduced this guy to me when I first met him. And he was like, "What's up, bro?" And he was just like staring at me. And in my mentality, like, somebody staring at you, they got a problem or something. So I punched this kid. And it was all bad after that. Me and my brother, he was upset at me. Like, I just got out of fucking rehab, and I didn't know where my mentality was.
Right.
And I thought somebody was trying to be, different from me from what I've been through and all them group homes and, the loud, obnoxious and everything. I thought he was trying to be a tough guy, and I punched him. I was on...
Was he a tough guy?
Yeah, no. He wasn't a tough guy.
Okay.
He told me he was sorry a couple times, and he was crying after I punched him.
That's
He was
nice.
pretty upset about it, because it wasn't even like that, I guess. But I didn't know that, okay? But I ended up becoming friends with this guy.
Okay.
And started skating around the neighborhood, like keeping my mind busy, staying active still, riding bikes with the friends, going down to the creek, jumping in the water, normal stuff. Well, they wanted to start smoking weed, so I started smoking with them.
Are you, how old are you still?
17. 16 still, sorry.
Still 16, okay.
Getting ready to be 17.
Okay.
So they wanted to smoke some weed, so I started smoking weed again.
Okay.
Back to smoking weed. I smoked weed for a while. And then, let's see. I ran with some, when I started getting weed, I started buying it myself then. After, not letting somebody else take my money and go getting it and bring it back.
Yeah, sure.
I started to find out, who's got it or where it's at.
Who's the plug?
who's-
Who do I need to talk to?
Yeah, who's got the good stuff,
I gotta go through. Yep.
Well, I started to look around, and I started to see where the weed was, and I found a good, source, and he had some fire all the time, and I told him about my parents growing a pot plant in the backyard.
Oh.
It was like 7-8 foot tall, dude, and
Oh, I didn't know that. So they were growing weed as well.
yeah, he told me. He said, "Hey man, if you go steal that plant, I'll hook you up with some good bud right now." I said, "All right." So I went and stole that plant out of my mom's backyard.
Oh, fuck.
I took it to him, right? And by the time I got it to him, it was already, I shocked it. I fucked it
I'm
up.
sure you
It was
doesn't
fucked.
take much.
Yeah, it was. So he said, "Oh man, don't worry about it, things happen." So I go back home, right? And my parents done tore my room up.
Oh, dude.
They were looking for the weed because they knew I plucked it. My bed was flipped over. My shoebox was going through. Dude, I had on the head of the plant, like the very tall top of the head of the plant, I took that thing off. And it's like the most
the
noticeable bud.
Yeah.
And I took it off and broke it, and I wrapped it in saran wrap. I didn't know anything about, what to do with it or how to hide it or dry it out. So I wrapped it in saran wrap and threw it in a shoebox under my bed. Well, I come back home after I did it and it kept that piece, and my parents then tore my room apart and found it. Well, they didn't want me there because they saw that I was stealing.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't just that I was stealing. I would steal weed from them, like upstairs. I'd go in their room and go through their stuff just to find things, and then when you're looking for that one thing and you stumble across something else that you ain't ever seen before, then you're like, "Oh, what's that?"
And what was it that you stumbled across?
Came across some crack that was sitting on a tray with a crack pipe.
Okay.
And so then I found out my mom was smoking crack, and
She wasn't clean.
Mom wasn't clean after all. But the guy she was with, they wasn't together long. So I feel like that might have had something to do with her, going back and her being stressed out and just turning to that. So Mom was...
Wait, well, real quick. You find the crack in the pipe.
Yeah, and I
Do
didn't know
you
what it was.
do you load it up?
No,
and-
no, 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 no. I didn't touch it. I didn't know what it was.
But you know this thing exists now.
Yeah, I know it exists. I've seen it. It's obviously something to smoke out of because it's a
Right.
pipe, and it's obviously, I wasn't too hip to the stuff until I got told about it. Well, yeah, they were. I think mom went back to that because of the separation. I don't know. Mom likes to be comforted. She just don't like to be by herself. I don't know. She likes attention, so maybe that kind of like stumbled her or messed with her then. But yeah, mom was smoking crack, and mom left and was a stripper. She turned to being a stripper and a crackhead, and that was what I watched for a while of my
And
life.
you're living there now.
Yeah, I
and you're
just watching mom smoke crack, not coming home sometimes to her family because she's staying with somebody else,
Yep.
making money to come
Yep.
home with. She'd come home with money. She'd say, here, Josh, Dustin, here's, $5, $10 to eat on for the day. Go get you guys some food. Well, my brother would take out money and, just go to McDonald's or something, get something to eat. Well, that was what we ate on for a while, for months, because they didn't want to cook. There was no clean dishes. They didn't want to, prepare food, go grocery shopping. It was like, you're going to get a couple dollars here. You got to fend for yourself, for the day. It's on you.
Yep.
So it was like, taking on a responsibility of myself and for my brother at a young age, too, like seeing that there was no, support.
Right.
Like I'm saying, man, like, it was just here's this,
You basically are feeling totally alone.
Yeah, just, pretty much like there's nothing there, like what? So, we do that for a while, and, yeah, my son was born when I was in Maryhaven,
Okay.
like I was telling you when I
Yep.
was in there. He was born, and he was born with a hole in his stomach, and his insides were outside of him, his intestines were out, everything. So when he came out, they had to put everything back in him and zipper him, like give him a zipper.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so he's still
Like
alive.
sew 'em back together.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's doing good.
Good.
But yeah, it was a very shocking moment.
Tough start.
When I heard about that stuff. So it's like, you know, damn, what do I do? What can I do? Well, I had the friends that were like, hey man, let's smoke, let's get high. Well, started getting high some more. It didn't progress until I got with an ex of mine that I had a conversation with you about in the correctional facility.
Yep.
So we'll get to that now if you want to.
Sure.
So let's get in there anyways. So yeah, no other drugs ever in my life scooped any deeper than weed when I was
A kid.
17, 18, 19, 20s when I stopped smoking weed. Okay, and it was like, I'm going to smoke it here and there, but not all the time like I used to, because I used to be a big pothead. I'm going to roll up a quarter and smoke a
Right.
quarter right
I'm
now.
gonna make a change.
Yeah, so I
Sure.
stopped smoking weed, and this girl that I met got me on perks.
Okay. And at the time, are we talking 30s?
Yeah, straight to the 30s. Nothing, no
Real
tints.
30s,
Yes,
right?
real,
Not
legit. No
pressed.
press, no
Okay.
fentanyl, straight oxycodone, and acetaminophen.
Tell me about that
Um,
experience the first time.
Well, my first time experience in one of those was like, I mean, I couldn't, it was like, wow, heaven, I feel fucking great. Like this is like candy.
The
Oh
best
my
thing
God,
ever.
I could get used to this type of buzz, smoke a blunt, pop a 30,
Oh.
feel good,
The best.
Yeah, and so that kind of addiction grew on me more. I was doing 30s left and right. Her dad was prescribed them. He drove a semi truck, and he said, here's like 10, 20, 30s. Get them to his daughter. Here, you sell them and make you guys some money, blah, blah, blah. I don't care if you guys do one or two. Well, fuck that. It got to the point where we was doing all of them.
Yeah.
We wasn't selling them. We was getting high every fucking day. We didn't care. Started doing 30s. Did 30s for 6 years straight.
Wow.
Did 30s for about 6 years straight.
And that's got to be really expensive. I mean, I know you're getting some for free,
so back
but
then I was getting them for like $18 a piece.
that's really good.
And
What year was that?
this was back in 2011.
Damn,
2011.
it's a really good. Okay,
Yeah, 2011 or so.
it's a great price.
So yeah, I started doing them, and it was like doing, splitting one in the beginning, half and half, and then later it graduated to, oh, I need 2.5, you need 2.5,
Yep.
It started getting worse. And at the time when I met this girl,
Did you know that? Did you know how serious what you were putting in your body was?
no,
Okay.
I didn't know how serious any of it was. I honestly thought that, I'm going to do this, and
Yep.
it's just going to feel great, and that's just how life's going to go. It's all peachy now.
Yeah, you figured it out.
Yeah, so, but at the time when I met that girl, I had like I said, my parents didn't want me. I got kicked out, So I met her and started staying there. When I met her, I showed up to her house with a fucking trash bag full of clothes. Like, here I am. This is how you get me, I don't have nowhere else to go, I pretty much just pinned it on her and, used her at the time because I didn't have nobody else out there
Right.
that wanted me to stay or, lend a hand to me. So I used this girl at the time,
You
and
guys are dating.
yeah, and he dated for 12 years, bro.
I call that taking a hostage
Yeah.
in active addiction. When you're
Yeah.
with a girl
Yeah.
and you're like in active addiction, I call it taking a hostage. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
pretty much what you do.
Pretty much that's pretty much what happened, man. So, yeah, we was getting high, and now she had a kid at the time, and the baby dad wasn't around. So pretty much like, hey, I was coming here, so I'm coming here to be with you, but if you want me to stay, I'll stay. And then she's like, later on down, she was like, oh, if I'll go to work if you want to watch, the baby. I'm like, I don't mind. So then it set in like, oh, I'm this girl's, main guy now, and I'm watching her kid. I'm running the house. Shit,
And
I'm
she's
living
going
like
to work.
I'm living like Scarface. I didn't have to pay
Yeah.
a bill. Didn't have to fork out anything.
Fuck.
So living it like I was like, rock star over there, getting high on perks, smoking weed. She had money. She had a job. She had a car. She had it all. She was
Felt
it was just-
manageable.
yeah, I felt like it was
Yeah.
just everything I needed at the time. Well, I was with her for 12 years, but it didn't last like it wasn't really all romancy after the first 5. It actually started to go downhill. She had a job at Grinders. I
Okay.
would come here in Grandview, Ohio, to help her work, and yeah, she wanted to get off work every day and let's go get a perk. Let's go get a perk. So I'm like, all right. We started doing that, and Grinders ended up shutting down.
Yep.
They closed, and she had to find a new job. So she got a job at Nationwide Arena through Minuteman Staffing.
Yep. Okay.
So I was taking her to and from work, watching her kid. Well, while I was doing all this stuff, she was, making new friends, at work and everything.
Meaning
She
what?
met this girl named Tanya.
Okay.
Okay, and this girl named Tanya came over after work one day when I picked her up. She brought her friend over too. And she's like, I don't want to ask you this because, I don't want you to get mad at me. And I'm like, what? Just fucking ask me, She's like, you want to do some ice? I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
What's ice?
What's ice? She's like, meth. I'm like, I ain't never done that shit before. She's like, it's okay. Tanya gave it to me the other night, and, I was fine. So I'm thinking, like, okay, let's try it, I was just so gullible for anything. Well, I tried it, and my first time trying it, man, I snorted it. It burned the shit out of my nose. Like, dude, I couldn't explain it, bro. I was just like, you ever seen the Hulk rage when he turns green? Yeah, that was me, bro. I snorted that shit. I was like, oh, like, because it was burning my head, bro.
That shit stings.
So, yeah, her friend introduced that to us, and I started snorting it for a while, and finally I got tired of that shit burning my fucking
So
face.
you're still you're doing ice and 30s now?
Yeah, doing
Okay.
it all.
All of it.
All of it.
Anything.
Well, we graduate from the 30s to meth.
Okay.
We stopped doing the 30s.
Okay.
So we wouldn't get as, sick off of them because I don't know, we just wasn't doing like 4 or 5 of them a day, or I don't know, but it wasn't like the withdrawals that I went through from, when I was doing fentanyl. It was like I wasn't experiencing no withdrawals on them Percocets because I don't know, it was in my mindset. We always had them or whatever. It just didn't go through a withdrawal from them. Well, her friend introduced the meth to us, and she gave her some. Well, we went home with it, and let me tell you, bro, that shit is an intensifier for anything. Like any kind of moment, it was an intensifier for me, and I liked it. I fucking fell in love with that shit, cause I'm already ADD, ADHD, and bipolar. So when you set some speed into somebody that's already speeding, it's gonna calm them down. Well, it counteracted me. I didn't speed up on meth. I was chill. I was normal. I was quiet. I mean, I wasn't weirdly quiet to where I wouldn't talk,
Right.
but I wasn't so hyper, and I liked doing it. I loved it, and graduated from the 30s and went straight to meth. And she cheated on me after we started getting high on meth for a while. She at Nationwide Arena, she cheated on me there with a guy, and
Coworker.
yeah, coworker, and I caught her outside talking to the guy, and she lied about it. She says, "No, I was just having a conversation to somebody." I was like, "Bullshit." I said, "You ain't ever that close to some guy talking, having a conversation, and then give him a hug bye." I seen it. She acted like I didn't see it in the corner of the parking
You
garage.
knew
I
something was
seen it.
wrong.
I seen it. So I confronted her about it, and it was it was a full-fledged on argument war about her lying about the situation. And I got on the freeway to go home, and she started punching me while I'm driving in my shit because I'm telling her, I seen the shit. You can't lie
Sure.
to me. She's so defensive about it. Well, I get hit a few times in the face while driving, and my truck goes into fucking neutral. I thought she done slammed my truck into drive on the freeway and thought my transmission was falling out of my car. Because at the time it wasn't like locked in all the way. You can hear it
Yep.
underneath going click, 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 because it ain't locked. It's in the middle of a
Okay.
gear. So I thought she broke my shit, bro, and I re-looked down and it was just in neutral, like barely in neutral, and I put it back in drive, and we go home, and yeah, she denied it. Whatever, it got let go. Um,
You let it go.
yeah, let
You
it
moved
go
on.
after that. Whatever, and I just figured at this point in time, if somebody's gonna do something, I'm just gonna say fuck it,
Fuck
catch
it.
you in the
Yeah.
act, and
Yeah.
then I'm just gonna beat you both up,
Yeah.
like, you know. Well, one night, I took her back to work, and no wait, she took herself to work. I stayed at home with no car this time, and no, we got in an argument. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
You're
We
okay.
got in an argument to begin with. She took the car to work, okay, and I stayed at home with her kid, okay. She texts me that night when she's supposed to be getting off, saying, "Oh, I gotta stay another shift. This event didn't get cleaned up at Nationwide. You know how they have the vents down there.
Yep.
Well, she's saying the event didn't cleaned up, so she had to stay an extra shift. Well, this bitch done worked over 12 hours, and now you got to work another 8 hours. That just doesn't sound logically to me.
I think that's illegal.
Yeah.
Actually.
So yeah. I whatever. I found out. She really wasn't at work. Her friend Tanya called me, and she says, "Hey, where's so and so at?" And I said, "What do you mean she's at work?" She says, "We've been off work since 10:30 that night." She went to work at like 6, and they got off at 10:30. So she lied to me, and I said, "Oh, really?" So I go up to her job, and I go in the parking garage to look for the car. I found the car sitting there, so I go get in. I go get into the car, and she calls me, and I call her, and I tell her, like, I'm sitting in the car waiting for you to come out, like, you know, what's up? So she's like, "Oh, I'm not coming out. I'm gonna call security. Security's gonna come get you out of the car. I said, "Whatever. I'm sitting in here waiting." Well, she came out of that fucking parking garage with the dude she was with, security, and a couple other coworkers.
Oh wow.
Well, my truck was our truck was tinted windows, really dark tinted, so you can't like parking garage are a little dark and you can't really see in people's cars, whatever. So it made the tint look real dark to where you couldn't even see through it. This guy comes up to the car, dude, while I'm sitting in it waiting for him. Like I pretty much planned this out. I went up here because
You've
I
been
knew I
waiting
was
for
gonna.
this moment.
It's like premeditated,
Yeah,
pretty
you've
much
been
at this
waiting
point.
for this moment.
I'm sitting in this car, dude, waiting for her to come out, and they come out of this elevator, and it was him, her, security, and a couple other coworkers, and he's looking in the car, trying to see if I'm in the car. Well, he can't see, and he's in the driver window, and I'm sitting right here
Oh
in the
yeah.
driver's seat, and he's still not seeing me, right? He looks through, and I open the door on his ass. Open the door on him. I have a baseball bat and a pocket knife, bro. I was so upset that I was ready to rage. I didn't give a at this point. You're gonna do this. I'm gonna kill this dude. That was just my mindset. I didn't really have any, you know, think about consequences or repercussions after
Yeah.
I would have done it anyway. I
Okay.
just didn't care. It. So I went to go after this dude, and they he didn't. He like stepped back, and security stepped in and said, we're gonna have to call the cops. We're gonna call Columbus Police. And she stepped in and she was like, "No, you ain't gonna call the cops. We'll just go. Bitch, we're just gonna leave after you just walked out the elevator with this dude, you know." Okay, so we're driving, and this is my first DV, man. We're driving, and she's in the driver's seat. So now it's my turn. I'm in the passenger seat. I told you that she had punched me while I was driving. So I got her back. And I know it wasn't right of me, and I definitely wasn't in the right state of mind to put my hands on a female. But my heart was so broken that all I knew was destruction. So I hit her a couple times and pulled her hair, because I really didn't want to, like, hurt her, bloody her.
Yeah.
So I, like,
Yeah.
hit her and pulled her hair and tied her up in her hair and shit. And she's screaming at the top of her lungs, bro, like, this is all on you. Like, you cheated on me. You brought this to me when you could have just, let me go or told me, you didn't have to do it this way. You
Right.
could have it could have been done differently, different scenario. So, you know, she was like, oh, I'll get him out of here, and then we left, and she wanted to go to UDF on Climb and Alkire.
Mhm.
Or is that right? No, no. What is that?
Mhm.
It's not Climb. That's Holt Road and Alkire.
Okay.
Holt and Alkire. Sorry. So we get the UDF and gas tank's like almost on E, bro. So I give her the few dollars I have in my pocket and tell her to go put the money in and I'll pump it. Well, she went inside that gas station, bro, and she told on me.
Yep.
She went in there and she told that the clerk, he was hitting me, putting his hands on me. He's acting crazy. But I didn't know how to react to this. Like, I've never, witnessed this, and some guy try to act like it's okay. I'm just going to, your girl, whatever. And I just didn't know how to take it all in. So, yeah, I was a different person at that moment, and I was very angry. But she went in there and she told them, that I was crazy, and I put my hands on her. And I swear to you, bro, they turned the store lights off and the lady came and locked that door. I pulled from the gas pump over to the front of the store without no gas still being paid for. I go over there and knock on the door and the lady's like, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, my
Yeah. I
girlfriend's
need
in there in the bathroom,
gas.
at the time. Like, I'm getting gas. Has she come out yet? Like, she's like, oh, no, I can't let you in. We're closing. So I'm like, all right, well, can you just send her out when she's done, or whatever? I'm not, this ain't clicking yet.
Yeah. You're not
It's not
understanding
clicking.
that
Like, oh, they're
she's
closing.
right.
UDF is like 24-hour
Yeah.
store, and
Yeah.
it still wasn't setting in.
They're trying to keep her safe until the
Yeah,
police come.
so they locked her in there, and I'm sitting in the car in the driver's seat. I don't have a license. I've never had a license ever in my life. I didn't go through with after my temporaries when I was a kid. I never got my license until just recently, last year, which is a great achievement, by the way.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Took a long,
Yeah.
long journey to get it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, sorry. Um,
You're waiting
Yeah, yeah.
outside of the UDF.
Yeah, I'm waiting
Lights are turned
outside.
off.
Sorry,
She's
train
inside.
of thought.
You're okay.
I'm sitting outside UDF, and I'm in the driver's seat, and I hear a helicopter.
Oh.
And okay, I'm at the time like, oh, okay, helicopter, you know. And next thing you know, there's a cop car, helicopter, spotlight on me. Whole gas station is lit up like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, it is bright as daylight. I'm being surrounded by, I swear to you, dude, there
Oh,
was
so they
like
came heavy.
10 plus cop cars there that night. They came, and I had a cut on my knuckle from, I don't know, hit her tooth or something. I don't know. When I smacked her or hit her, I had a cut. And the cop that came to the car, I seen him pulling in, and I seen him surrounding me. So I hopped out of that driver's seat into the passenger seat like I wasn't driving because I didn't have a license.
Mhm.
And they come up to the window, and she taps it with her flashlight and guns in my face, bro. And I'm like, what in the, what did I do? What's this over? Oh, we got a call that you were, being crazy and beating on a girl, and you kidnapped her, and she wanted out, and you didn't want to let her out. Yeah, bro, she had made this whole story up. Okay,
So she basically embellished.
Yes.
Because obviously there's some truth to it because you did
yes,
say you
I
put her
did,
hands
I
on her.
did,
But she made it.
I didn't kidnap
she made
her.
it,
I
right.
didn't take her on her
Okay.
own. Yeah, she
Okay.
didn't want to go. She was in the car willingly.
Yep.
If she wanted it out, it was her car. She could have told me to get out. But
So
it
she
was,
just tweaked the story a little bit
she
to make it
tweaked the
worse.
story. So cops come, and they want me to get out of the car. I get out of the car, and they're like, she's in the bathroom, done took pictures of her face, because yes, it has marks on it. Her hair's pulled out, pulled her hair out. You can tell her hair's been pulled. They got all these pictures, okay, and she was in the bathroom taking pictures the whole time and reporting it. Cops put me in the cop car, and he says, let me see your hands. Well, I showed him my hands, and one of them was cut. He said, how did that happen? I said, man, I was flicking my cigarette out the window, and she rolled the window up on my hand. At that given moment, like, I'm going to think of whatever I can so I don't go down for this.
Sure.
And he said, oh, yeah, right. We already know the story. We know what happened. She already told us that you caught her at work with another guy and that she don't want to be with you. And she's been trying to get away from you forever. And I'm like, she has never even said none of that to me. Like, it's never been any of that kind of vibe. Well, they take me to jail. I'm in Jackson Pike.
This time we're going to the county. We're
Jackson Pike,
not in
man.
juvie anymore.
No, I've been, before this incident, I was in and out of Jackson Pike for, this relationship that I was in for the 12 years wasn't perfect. There was arguments, there was threats, there was, punching doors, walls, breaking things.
Sure.
It was not a peachy relationship like I, thought it was going to be. Well, there was previous times before her calling the cops, me being angry or breaking something. Like, I had broke a lamp, bro, and a light bulb hit the ground and busted, and the glass hit her foot, and I went to jail for it for 6 months.
Okay.
For a
this
DV
is
charge.
You've been
I've
at
been
this
there.
point. You've
I'm
been
sorry,
to
yeah,
the county
I've
a
been
couple
there
times.
a few times,
It's okay.
but it was nothing ever like long-term stay.
Not like
it
this.
was like, here, you're going to be here for a month or 2 months, and we'll send you to court and see what we're going to do. Well, this time when I got took in there, man, I got taken into a gladiator tank. That was my
Explain to the viewers
gladiator
what
tank
a gladiator tank is.
A gladiator tank in jail or prison or a correctional facility is a fighting tank. You go in, you have to fight for you have to fight for what you stand for, and you can't go in and be a bitch or, be soft-hearted. You go in there and fight. You come in that tank, they want the new guy to fight. So the new guy is me coming in. They wanted me to fight at the back wall. Well, the guy they gave me to fight, I didn't know until after the fight that this guy has seizures. Well, me and this guy go to the back wall, and it's just me and this other white guy. They was like, put the two white boys back here, because the rest of the tank was all black dudes. I'm in there with some big motherfuckers, bro. Yep. And they're like, put the two white boys back here, I go back there, I beat this dude up. And later, he wants to come and dap me up like after everybody's chilling and laying down relaxing. I'm out there in the day room. He come out there and he tells me, he's like, hey, man, I never had any problem with you, bro. I said, I know. I said, I ain't got a problem with you either. I said, this is just where we live, bro. That's what we got to do.
Just what we have to do.
This is what we have to do, He says, yeah. He said, I would have really hated to have a seizure if you would have hit me in the right spot on my head. I could have sent this dude into a seizure and got another charge because I was trying to stand my ground and not look like a bitch in a gladiator tank in jail. you know, or they was going to take my food when
Yep.
it came in, or they was going to take my hygiene, they was going to take
They
my
can
commissary.
they can make your life hell.
Yeah, it can make my life
Yeah.
hell in there. So I just did what I had to do, you know, and I fought. And
What else did you see in the county jail that you remember that
I
really
watched a guy
stood out?
get. I was sleeping on my rack one morning, and they bring in the mops,
Yep.
buckets. I don't know if you heard about this, but you might have. Guy was on his rack, man, and the night before they were playing poker, and had ran up a pretty big bill that he owed the other guy, and told the dude, "F him, he ain't paying him shit. You know, you want to do something about it, do something about it." Well, nothing was done at that point in time. They brought that mop bucket in, bro, and that dude got up and grabbed that mop handle with the ringer
The
on
mop
it,
ringer.
and clocked that dude right in his shit in his sleep, bro. And that was my first time ever seeing something like really brutal and a lot of blood leaking and spitting out. Like, this dude's face was reconstructed with a mop ringer, bro.
I've heard a lot of stories about
Yeah.
the mop ringer.
And yeah, so that was the first time seeing something like that. But it's just, you know, it's where you, and when you're locked up in an institution or anything, you have to stand your ground. You can't, you know, hey, I'm a bitch and I'm not gonna let nobody. I'm just gonna give my stuff to you. No, it don't work like that. You gotta stand your ground and be tough, no matter if you're not tough.
right.
So yeah, I was a tough guy in jail. You know,
You have
They,
to play a character.
yeah, playing a character, playing my role. But in reality, I'm a really good guy. I'm a very nice person,
Right.
you know. And I played my role in there, and I got cool with people. Like, I gained respect. Like, it was cool, you know, and started breaking bread with them. Like, when I say breaking bread, I mean, like, taking our commissary food and putting it
Sharing.
together and sharing. We
Yep.
all making something big and sitting down and eating like, you know, real brothers do. And that's what we were doing for the longest, man. And it come to be my when I got in there, right? They had so many days to indict me on that charge that I got taken in on with the DV with her in the car
Yep.
and the helicopter surrounding me. You know what they indicted me with after my indictment came?
What?
They indicted me with a F3 abduction. They hit me with an abduction charge.
Just the abduction?
No, abduction, assault, and domestic violence. So when my indictment paper came, you know, I was in there and I thought I had hope of getting out on like papers or something, you know. No, that didn't happen. My judge is Julie Lynch, Franklin County Common Pleas. She is the worst. Julie Lynch, her license plate used to say "Hang 'em high" or
25 to life.
25 to
I've
life.
heard-
She was.
I've
It's something
heard.
to worry about when you go in her courtroom. So, you know, every time I
Oh,
went in,
dude, I would have been
bro, every
terrified.
time I went in her courtroom, I was scared for my life. Like, I was like, oh, she's gonna stroke me. She's sending me to the joint. Like, so at this point, you know, I go to court.
How old are you now?
Well, at this point, I am 20.
25, 26?
Yeah, around there, 25, 26 era. Yeah. So I go and see her, and she's like, you know, I'm gonna put you on felony papers, you know, for 5 years, you know, and
Which means probation.
yeah. So they wanted me to come and drop every month. She let me out finally after sitting there for 8 months.
God. it's
Okay,
a
she
long
let
haul in
me
the
out.
county.
And she says, I want you to do, you know, House of Hope, which was like, House of Hope is a facility you go to and have group meetings
Yep.
about addiction or
Very familiar.
urges, anything like that.
I pick guys up there all the time.
Yeah,
still.
so I went there the first time that I was supposed to register and do my paperwork. But after I seen the people that was coming in there, I'm like, nah, this ain't for me. You know, like, I'm not this person.
It's intense.
I was scared to admit to myself that I was a drug addict, but I wasn't like these. I just do it here and there. I'm cool.
Now
you know?
you're having to face
Yeah,
the
you
fact
know,
that
so-
I have a problem.
Yeah, I have an addiction. So anyways, I
You're good. House of Hope.
yeah, House of
You-
Hope. So I go in
you
there.
bail?
I start doing the, you know, what's it called?
Inpatient?
Inpatient. They wanted me to do that.
I'm sure counseling,
yeah,
outside
counseling.
recovery meetings,
Yeah,
all that. Yeah.
My first, you know, time I went there, I did paperwork. Second time I come, I left early. out of group, out people was in a circle, I just got up and left. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that shit. You know, I'm ready to go smoke a blunt, or I'm ready to go get high. F this.
And you
I
know
wasn't
that
ready for that type of, placement in my life to be forced to get clean. I wasn't ready to, give up,
you just weren't ready.
yeah, I wasn't ready to get clean yet.
Regardless of Judge Lynch being your judge and you knowing the consequences.
I just didn't. I had that, like I said in the beginning, I have always had this I don't care attitude in life. Don't give a what happens. It's going to happen regardless type of shit. So I left, and they reported it to probation.
Yep.
That I left. Well, my probation officer contacted me, and I didn't answer it because I already knew why she was calling. She left a message. She said, "Hey, Mr. Fessler, I would like you to come in, and do a check on you, and drop." I was like,
You know what that means.
I listened to the voicemail, right? And I was like, I'll call her back, and I'll let her know that I'm not going to be coming in. I called my PO, and I told her, I'm not coming in. Catch me if you can.
Catch me if you can.
Catch
I'm running.
me if you can. I'm on the run. I didn't
You
care.
are a psychopath for doing that with Judge Lynch as your judge.
But wait till she's a blessing. She blessed me.
I
So, anyways,
go on the run.
I'm on the run, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm smoking a bubble. I'm getting high. I didn't want to get
Back
clean.
to the
Back to the
meth.
meth. And somebody sold me a couple fake press 30s one time.
Fatty.
Right before me going to jail, and I liked the feeling. I liked that. Oh, I was floating in the air.
You knew it was different.
It was different than the perk. So when I got out, I was like, I knew somebody that was doing the speed and the thing and mix, like the fentanyl, heroin.
Speedballs. Yeah.
Was doing it in mix, and he asked me to try it. And I'm like, okay. So I'm in a trap house, Wedgwood in Columbus, in the hallway, first time ever trying to speedball. And I was smoking it. I never used a needle. I've never injected anything in my body. I've always smoked it, snorted it. That was it. So I was smoking it on foil, and it wasn't really like a strong, hit, like, of an opiate hit, like how it would bring you real down and like shut you down. It was more of like a whoo, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do something.
Speedballs are my favorite.
Yeah, so I did that, and it was cool. And next thing you know, I didn't want to mix it. I wanted to keep my shit separate and get the best out of both of them instead of, mixing it. And I didn't know if that would f it up, but I just started keeping it separate. And I tried some, had a surgery, because when I was staying in Wedgwood, I was around dirty stuff and helping people sell dope and touching scales and touching baggies. I would touch things without gloves. I ended up getting cellulitis in my hand, and it swelled my whole hand up like a softball, and I had to have surgery. Well, they had the surgery. They wanted to give me Percocet for pain.
Yep.
Well, at the time, the Percocet wouldn't do anything because I'm
You were
already
doing
graduated
Fetty.
other shit.
Yep.
They're going to give me Perc 5s.
Shit's not gonna touch
I'm just going to sell these bitches, and get me some more meth.
Yep.
Well, I ended up doing that, and my friend that I sold them to, he was selling them to somebody else, so they wasn't even for him. He was in the kitchen after I used the restroom. I walked in there, and I caught him hitting some foil of some fentanyl. And that's when my addiction grew more on the fentanyl, because he was winging it like, here's a little, little, like a little bit of smoke going in my mouth, here's a little bit of smoke. Well, it got to the point where I wanted a bigger hit.
Yeah, you want to rip.
I took a bigger hit, bro, and graduated from everything else and moved straight to fentanyl. And that was my main thing. I would do meth and fentanyl, and I loved it. I loved packing a bubble every day. I loved keeping my foils cut and my straws, dirty to clean out when I needed
Yeah, it's
some.
a ritual.
Yeah,
it's a weird
it was
ritualistic thing we have as
yeah,
addicts.
it was a big addiction, and I just loved it at the time.
When did you get caught?
When I OD'd, man, in his house, my cousin had took me over there. Thank God for him, man. He pretty much saved my life. I went over there and I hit some in his house of some really good stuff. And he told me when I hit it, he says, "You don't want to hit this hard, it's just some really good stuff." Well, when I hit that shit, man, and I felt it, and I go in the bathroom, and I fell in the shower. I OD'd. That was my, first time ODing. I woke up being drugged down the steps, my legs smacking the steps, and being thrown in the back seat of my cousin's car, and then getting hit with like 3 hits in Narcan. Was what they said they hit me with to bring me back after I was
Your
coming.
people.
Yeah.
Thank God.
My cousin didn't know I was getting high on that stuff, but my dude did because I went in there to get it off him, and I hit it in there to come back out. I OD'd in his house before I came back out, and my cousin was yelling at me in the back seat. He couldn't believe it.
They might have still, though. They
I
saved,
couldn't believe
saved
you
your
would
life.
try to do that to me. Like, he was upset, crying, worried, but at the same time, pissed off that that's what first time he ever seen anything like that, it was me. And I was dead in somebody else's bathroom being brought back. So that kind of scarred him, man. Like, and it didn't teach me a lesson. You would think that, if somebody died off something, they're going to not do it. Well, I kept doing it. And, I started to do less so it wouldn't make me, like, fall out. But then there would just be times where I would just get the good stuff and hit it one time and it'd send me right over.
When you OD'd, and you went to the hospital, did you get picked up on the warrant?
Okay, so when I OD'd and I went to the hospital, yes, police were there, and yes, when I came out of being not with my cousin, this was a separate OD. Okay, because my cousin, so I say he saved my life because the cops didn't come, none of that, no squad.
Okay.
So the next time I OD'd, yes, the cops came to the hospital, and I woke up after had IVs in me, okay, and I'm like tied to this bed, and my left hand is handcuffed to the frame of the hospital bed, and I hit the nurse button, and a cop comes in there, and he says, "What are you hitting that for?" I said, "Well, I need to use the restroom." He said,
"Yeah, I'm looking for a nurse."
"Yeah, I need to use the restroom. I'm looking for a nurse, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll get one, but you ain't going nowhere." He says, "You're going to jail." I said, "Oh, yeah?" He says, "Yeah, you got a warrant." I knew I had a warrant.
Yeah.
Okay, so I go back to jail, and
this is a probation
this is a
violation.
Okay, and she gave me one more chance. I sat there for another 6 months for violation.
God, dude.
She let me have one more chance, she says, "Now I'm giving you one more chance. If you come in front of me in this courtroom," she says that I'm going to give you your shelf time, which is, 5 years in the joint. That was my shelf time. That would be my first time, sitting down and doing a long time like that. And she gave me that chance. I got out. And then, yeah,
Was that when you got sent to...
I was still getting high, though. So I couldn't wait to get out and go back to getting high. Because
Right.
even the 6 months I was clean in Franklin County, Jackson Pike, the correctional facility, I was still wanting to get high when I get out. I didn't care, about nothing.
Still weren't ready.
I didn't have 6 months clean. I'm going to get out and still get high. I don't care, What else is there to live for at that time? Well, to me, there wasn't anything but to get high. So I got out and went right back to it. Started getting high again. And my first time coming back onto the fentanyl after being locked up, I OD'd. Back to it, OD'd again. I ended up ODing 16 times in a 4-month period off of fentanyl.
Jesus, man.
16 times. It was like,
that shit is so scary.
Every time, dude, it was just like, it was settling in on me, like, you've OD'd this many times, you're trying to kill yourself, all for what, you're getting high because you're upset, heartbroken because of this girl, and at the time when I went to jail all these times, and these guys would ask me, like, "Hey, what are you in for?" "Oh, I didn't go see my PO." He's like, "You dumbass, you should have went and saw the PO." I said, "Yeah, I wanted to get high, why are you getting high?" They're like, "Oh, let me guess, a female." Then you let that bitch go. Everybody would lecture me in jail saying, "Let that bitch go, let that bitch go." Well, it set in for a while. I let that bitch go, And one day, my mom had a friend over with a girlfriend that was with him. They wasn't doing it or anything. They were just friends, like just hanging out. My mom invited them over, and when I came home, they were over there, and they were smoking meth in the basement. So I joined them. And at this time, I'm smoking meth with my mom, or doing fentanyl with my mom on foil, or making sure my mom's not sick, or she's making sure I'm not sick. We're taking care of each other, like. So my fentanyl addiction was pretty rough. So it got worse. I wanted to get more. Like I wanted to find where more of it was, so I wouldn't run out the next day.
Sure.
Well, I found out that this dude my mom invited over was the plug, and this girl they were selling.
Perfect.
They were selling together.
Perfect.
They stayed the night, bro, and I woke up before they did, and everything he had was out in his car. I took his car keys off the table and stole his whip from my own house.
And the drugs
I
and
just
everything.
everything was in there.
You said, F it, I'm taking
I
it all.
took this in
Holy
car,
shit.
okay, and I'm joyriding. I got f***ing, 6 quarter bags of meth in this little safe that was unlocked and unzipped. Okay, I got in there and it was all in there. All the fentanyl was in there and meth was in there. The weed was in there. Anyways, I got in there. I started to get high down the road, and I call one of my friends up and I'm like, hey, bro, I stole the plug's car. I got a system in here, which are speakers in the trunk, TV deck, TVs on the headrest, a big ass bag safe full of drugs, and brand new stuff that boosters have sold him in packages and boxes in the back.
Oh yeah.
I took this dude's car, bro, and I called my friend, and this is Wedgwood. I'm going to Wedgwood with the dope man's car, the plug's car. And
Terrible
I
idea.
call one other guy after I get with my friend, and we go and sell everything out of this plug's car.
All right,
System.
so when does dude wake up and call you and say, what the
So after I unloaded the system at my buddy's house that I sold it to, he messaged me and he says, cops are looking for you. I said, what are you talking about? I messaged him back, played dumb about the shit. Like, I didn't take your car. I had somebody pick me up. What are you talking about? He says, no, I know you took my car. He says, your mom's got a camera on the driveway. She said she played it and I watched you take my car. So I was busted, taking the dope man's car. At this point, I'm on the run from Julie Lynch. I'm on the run from the police.
So yeah, you now know, you go back in front of her, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I'm on the run. At this point, I'm feeling like I'm in GTA with all the stars running from the police and the army,
Yeah.
And if I get caught, I'm just going to run. They're going to
Over.
get me, whatever. So, yeah, I sold everything out of that dude's car. I even cut the Cadillac converters, had 2 of them cut off, one up by the motor.
You stripped the
I
whole car.
stripped him, everything.
Holy shit.
Got all the drugs, and I had all the friends in the world when I had this stuff.
I bet you did. I bet you had
Okay?
a lot of friends.
They wanted to hang out. They wanted to, I'll get you the hookup for this price. So I fell through with it, and that's what I was doing with them guys at that point in time. And I dropped one dude off that me and him are still like this day. He's clean too.
That's great.
Yeah, and he lives in Florida. Me and him still talk, but yeah, this other guy, man. What was I saying? Sorry.
What? No, the car.
Okay, yeah. So the car. Yeah, I drop him off, and at the end of the night, I'm left with one dude. Okay, and he wants to go get some more dope. And I'm like, okay, let's go get some more dope.
So the drugs are gone?
Yeah, the drugs are gone. We done fucking.
How many days before you sold and
3 days maybe.
you blew through all that
Going
shit?
hard, not sleeping.
Just getting
yeah,
high.
just getting high, nodding out.
Sounds about right.
And so the guy that I was going to drop off, he was like, hey, I want to go in here and get us another bag. Well, my money was low, and I had $200 left, bro, and I gave it to him. I sat out back in this alley, I swear to you, for like 4 hours,
That's
bro.
the worst feeling.
And he goes just bullshitting me around, and I just feel like I was being robbed at the time, and I told him, like, look, you, I'm just going to leave, I get down the road, this motherfucker calls me like, bro, what are you doing? Why'd you leave? Come back, pick me up. I go turn around and pick this motherfucker up. And he's like, bro, I wouldn't fuck you over, bro. I said, bro, you was just in there for hours, bro. I've been calling you, blowing you up, texting you, ain't answering. Like, I'm thinking you robbed me.
Yep.
He's like, come on, bro, I wouldn't do that. Well, he gets in the car. He hands me my WAP, my fentanyl.
Yep.
And it looked good. It looked chunky, like, chunks. And I did it. And while I'm driving, I'm hitting the shit. And it really wasn't doing anything. Because, when you hit it, it immediately hits you, opiates. And it wasn't doing nothing. Well, he said, take me over here real quick, bro. He said, I'll make it right for you. I take him over there, and I still got these bags of meth. I still got all this meth on me, And because, everybody wanted to do fentanyl. The people I was hanging out with was more on fentanyl than it was meth. Meth, they just wanted to hit here and there to keep them going.
Yeah.
So I had probably, maybe six baggies of meth. And I gave them all to him. He said, I can take these in there and, sell them and get you some money. We can go get some good stuff. I'm like, all right, take it in there. Well, when he got out, I didn't see him grab this fucking flat screen. It was in a little, like a 32-inch Roku TV.
Okay.
It was sitting back there in the back, and I was going to keep it. I didn't see him getting it out of the car, to take it in with the shit, because he cuffed it in his coat,
Okay.
and turned a certain way, so I couldn't see him walking in the house. Well, I'm sitting out there for like 45 minutes, and finally I get out of the car and I go knock on the door. Dude, I tell you, bro, I swear to God, I felt like, a big-ass D-boy just opened up the door. I'm talking like Debo off of Friday. So he opens his door, and he's like, what's up, bro? I'm like, yo, where's so-and-so at? I just didn't come in here with my shit. He said, oh, I don't know what the you talking about. You got to go on with that shit somewhere. And I'm like, bro, this really just walked in there with my stuff and is saying that, he's not in there when I just watched him, bro.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, that dude that answered the door was told to tell me that stuff, Well, I found out from another guy because he had bought the stuff from that guy, and he didn't know it was my stuff until I told him that dude sold my stuff to you, and that was my shit. Well, he said, there ain't nothing I can do about it pretty much. He done sold it to me. I done paid for it. So I said, I went and cut them Cadillac converters off of that car to get my fix. And I did. I got like $500, dude, for both of them bitches.
That's great.
I cut them off there and went and got my fix, bro. And picked somebody else up to enjoy my high with, and ended up picking another guy up to enjoy my high with, and we went to Grove City in the middle of snow, bro, and I'm talking blizzard, like, it's not loud ass car, no Cadillac converters, in the middle of snow in Grove City. It was very dangerous to do, but I did it anyways. Didn't care at that time, obviously. Go to Grove City. I drove there in the snow. Wasn't safe. No license. I let this dude go inside to meet his sister, and I'm sitting in the car with my other buddy. We're sitting here just smoking it up, sitting in the car. Finally, we realized that this been in the house at his sister's for like 2 hours. Like, what's really going on? Like, why are we still sitting out here in the cold? Like, I'm ready to go. I put this car in drive and ready to leave, and he comes out, and he's walking on the sidewalk, so I just let him get in. I'm like, what the bro? He's like, oh, I had to wait for my sister to get this and get that, and, but it's just bullshitting, beating around the bush.
Yep.
So we leave Grove City, man, and I drop him off. My buddy that was sitting in the car with me in the beginning, not the other guy that went in with his sister. I dropped him off because he was like, man, I can't do this shit no more. He's like, I can't sit out here in the cold. Drop me off at the crib. I dropped him off, and my dude, the other dude asked me, he says, hey, man, let me drive. I'm like, all right, you can drive over here, and, I'll get the car back, and I'll drive. Well, he drives. We get there, and we go get some more dope, okay? And he comes back out, and I'm in the driver's seat this time because he done got out, and I done took the car and went around the block, try to stall time, wait for him to come back out and pick it back up. So I'm in the driver's seat this time, and he gets back in the car. We pull over at the park. We start, smoking our fentanyl and hitting our bubble in the car and getting high. Then, what happened after that? Oh, I pull up to the house to drop him off at the end of the night, and cop drove past me, like was coming from Broad Street down Terrace, and was following me. So I pulled over on the side of the road towards the sidewalk, and threw it in park real quick and turned it off so he couldn't get me because there was no keys. I wasn't driving, What are you talking about?
Yep.
He goes around the block, dude, and my dude's like, nah, I'm not getting out, bro. Like, I'm going to stay with you so nothing happens, make sure you're all right. Okay, well, at this point, how are you going to keep me safe with the cops? Like, we're going to run together? We're going to, hide together or something?
He can't help you with that.
So, yeah, he stays in the car. I pull off. Now, at this time, remember, I stole the plug's car. The car was reported stolen. Okay, so the cops were looking for it. Okay, so they was waiting for me to leave again. I pulled out of that parking spot. I go to the corner store on Broad Street, smoke and save.
Sure.
Right there on the hilltop, and I pull in there, and as soon as I pull in the parking spot, man, this cop was angled, like fishtailed angled at me. And I knew he was running the plates, dude. I already knew what was up. So at the time, I had this dope on me, and I had a nice little baggie of it. And I get out of the car with my hood up, and I had a ski mask on because, it was cold. I had a ski mask on so he didn't see my face. So he didn't know if I was a white person or a black person. So I get out, I go in the store, and I'm telling my dude, like, hey, bro, the cop's on the camera at the back of the car right now. And we're looking on the TV from the, the recorded footage in the store. You can see the parking lot from their shit. Well, I seen the cop sitting there, and I go down the candy aisle, bro, and I take, I think it was at least like 7 grams of WAP that I had threw in a Reese's box. So it wasn't on my personnel.
Smart.
I left it there. I left about 7 grams of Fetty in the store in a candy box. So whoever found
dangerous.
that, very dangerous. Well, whoever found that had a good day, or or turned it in. I don't know. So I just took a loss on that, and I got back in the car because when I put it in there, I looked back up at the screen, and there's no cop sitting outside no more. So I'm like, okay, bro, coast is cleared. Cop left. I get in the car and we go to leave, and I go behind the store so I'm not on a main road to see that cop again. Well, I go down this alley, and the cop is behind me. And at this point, I'm telling my dudes, like, bro, the cop's behind us. He's got his lights on in the alley. It's over with. He's like, that, I'm running. So at the time, I'm like, that, I'm running. Hit my foil, get high real quick, and dude, he didn't even put that, we didn't even put that car in drive before we was out the doors running. And that car was still rolling in a drive gear when we got out and the doors were open. The one cop, there was 2 that was following us in one cruiser, okay? There was 2 guys in the cruiser. One cop got out of the driver's seat and had his gun aimed on my dude when he was running, because I looked back and seen it. But the other cop couldn't go nowhere, or the other cop was trying to chase me because I was running. So one cop had to stay,
the car, and one had to,
it was like a vice versa thing. So I take off running, and I jump a couple fences on the hilltop, and I thought I got away. In front of West High School, there's some apartments that got like a basement downstairs door. Okay, so I jumped the fence, and I go down there, and I had everything, my identification, everything on me, and I had a little, shoulder bag at the time full of drugs and, money and my identification. So I throw that up in the porch down there, up under like the, because they got a wood deck, and then it goes underneath to like a basement or whatever. So I throw my stuff up in there and trying to sit there quiet as possible, bro. And remind you, I'm running in the snow. Okay, so the cops were following my footprints in the snow. They ended up finding me, and I played dumb. At this time, I'm high still because I just hit my shit. And I'm hiding, and, breath is coming through the porch. He said, we saw you breathing through the porch and followed your footprints. He said, how dumb you gotta be. So I said, it wasn't me, man. I wasn't right. I said, I just came outside to smoke a cigarette. I live here. Played that card on him. And he says, you don't live here. I said, yeah, I do. He says, what's the address? I said, all right, you got me. I don't live here. I was honest. You got me. He said, what's your name? And
did you lie again?
Yeah, I told him my name was John Wick, bro. And he says, "Oh, we got a funny guy, huh?"
Yeah, I mean, I would have said the same thing to you probably.
Yeah, so he says, "Oh, we got a funny guy, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "I'm gonna give you one more time and tell me your name, or I'm gonna get you for same thing
Yep,
when I was,
yep. You were a
kid,
kid.
falsification." I was like, "All right, man, I'll tell you my name if you go out there and get my bag and my stuff so it doesn't get left there." I forgot I had a pipe in there, bro, and it was a weed bowl and a busted bubble, and cop goes and grabs my bag, and they're pulling everything out on the hood of the cop
ID,
car.
yep.
And they're like, "Oh, Mr. Fessler." I'm
We've
like,
been looking for you.
"Yeah, that's me. Like, we've been looking for you. Same words they said to me. And I'm like, "Nah, not me. He's like, "Yeah, you got a warrant for probation. I'm like, "Oh, shit." So I go in, and at this time, dude, like, I'm probably doing at least 2.5 grams, 3 grams of WAP a day. Okay, I'm just to be okay.
So you're
Um,
detoxing like
yeah,
crazy this time around.
they take me downtown, bro, and when they take me to the Pike, bro, Jackson Pike Correctional Facility, which is one of the worst jails in the United
Hear it all
States.
the time.
So yeah, they take me there, and I immediately told the lady at the door. This is when COVID was going. She was like, "Do you have any symptoms? Blah blah blah. I said, "Yeah, I'm having them all. I feel sick. I think I got COVID. Take me downtown. I want to be at the big house. I don't want to be around none of these. I thought I was going to get off and go sit downtown until PO came and saw me and let me out. Well, I go downtown, 23 and 1, upstairs, 5th floor, I think,
Okay.
5th or 6th floor. Anyways, I'm sitting down there, and I'm going through it bad. Like,
Yeah,
first night was
detoxing.
okay. Second day came along, I didn't have nothing. Dude,
Dude, it's terrible.
it was the worst feeling I ever felt in my life with a withdrawal. And talking about doing a cold turkey quit is kind of like what happened to me. And there wasn't really no medicine that they wanted to give me
No.
because they knew I was a
Yeah, they don't.
I've been in there numerous times, in and out of Jackson Pike. I probably have been in and out of Jackson Pike 16 times. And I'd say 6 years, 7, 8 years.
So take
before
us
all this sobriety and everything.
take us to the court date. Take us to the
Okay,
final opportunity. You think you're going to prison?
Okay, so yeah, I'm 23 and 1, detoxing, waiting for PO to come see me and tell me what's going to happen. Well, PO never came and saw me. Lady came in that night and called the names of who was rolling it up going to the Pike, and my detox was horrible for 10 days straight in there. I did my detox there. So when I finally got moved to the Pike, I wasn't.
You were in better shape.
I was in a little bit better shape. I was starting to wanting to eat something, drink fluids. I go to the Pike, man, and I sat there for 4.5 months before they wanted me to go to court. And then I ended up seeing my attorney, and she says, this is on you. You f***ed up. She told you what she was going to do. She says, I can only do so much at this point. At this point, I'm just like, hey, do what you can. If I'm getting my shelf time, I'm already prepared to go.
Yeah.
Mindset, I'm going to the joint. Let's do it. I'm ready to go get tatted up and all types of shit. So I'm in there. I go to court, and they had some other kind of court date going on. So when I got brought down there was a trial going in my courtroom, and I couldn't go into court that day. So court had to be rescheduled. They rescheduled me for another, I'd say, 3 months out. Okay, so at this point, I sat in Jackson Pike for 7 months straight and went to court, and Lynch said, I wrote her a letter because I was so scared in Pike, dude. I wrote her a letter and said, I know I messed up, and I'd just like you to take into consideration, that maybe I would do better, or you put me in a program like Lighthouse. I was
that can
requesting
help me.
Lighthouse,
Sure.
because everybody was telling me, oh, Lighthouse is cool. You can come here and you can get a job, and you can get your own
Anything
place.
other than prison.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was like living a fairy tale rather than going to prison.
Right.
So I was all down for that. Well, my day came. She got my letter. She mentioned it in court. She says, Mr. Fessler, I got your letter today. My attorney reaches over and tells me, you shouldn't have wrote that.
Because you wrote the letter to
Yeah,
the
I wrote
judge,
the
and your
judge
attorney was like,
I wrote the
terrible
letter to
idea.
Judge Lynch, and I thought it was going to help the scenario. And come to find out, she didn't take me up on my offer for Lighthouse because she said that it was not going to be a
Not enough
placement.
structure.
Yeah, enough structure placement where she'll know where I'll be at, because pretty much you're allowed to go get a job after so
There's a
long.
lot of freedom.
There's a lot more
Yeah.
freedom, and she don't trust that with my previous accounts
Which makes sense.
and running from her. And so yeah, she didn't. She says I don't recommend the Lighthouse. And she said that she said something, and I barely heard it. And because you know how courtrooms are, you can like barely sometimes hear what they're saying, and then you're supposed to say whatever just to agree. Well, that was kind of me in a situation. I get put back in the holding cell upstairs from the courtroom, and my attorney comes back to me and she says, I don't know what you did, but she gave you another chance. She's going to put you in CBCF, which is a community-based correctional facility. It is
It's a
like
minimum
like another
security
jail,
prison,
another minimum security
but they
jail.
have classes.
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff.
classes and groups, and you can get your education in there,
GED.
and GED. Yeah. So that's what she recommended for me. Well, I sat there in Jackson Pike for another 14 days until they told me to roll it up, that I was leaving that morning to go. So I went to CBCF. I was there for 4 months. I clicked with a couple guys in there.
That's where I met you.
Yeah, that's where Lewis met me. Started talking to him. That's where I met a couple good guys, and
What changed when you got there? Like what? Because I remember you being like very raw and emotional, and like because you were going through withdrawals. You had just gotten past that. You're trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do with my life? Like what changed in that time span?
Be honest with you, what changed me was the help for the education there.
Really?
That I can vouch for 100%, because I can easily say that I probably wouldn't have wanted to do it if I wasn't placed there to get my education. And that took me to a different level. There was the teacher in the GED room. Helped me numerous times to understand things, worked with me, was more of a, one-on-one trying to learn something, rather than, my parents teaching me or just going to school and learning.
Sure.
It was more of, hey, we're going to get this, and you're not going to take no, and you're not going to quit. You're not going to give up. You got this,
That's great. Yeah.
So that's what the kind of encouragement was, and I just was like, somebody wants me to do this good and is, pushing this diploma on me to want me to do something with my life, then that's what I'm going to do. Well, I got my diploma. I got high scores. I was, with the high scores I had, I could have been valedictorian in a high school. That's real shit.
Yeah.
I got to take the picture in the hallway with the thing over my neck because my scores were high.
Yep.
And it was a great moment when I got my education and I got to hold that diploma for the first time. It was an eye opener. Like I'm no longer a
So I am capable.
Yeah,
of doing
I
things
am
like
capable
this.
of doing something that I never thought I could do or achieve. I achieved that goal. I got my education, and I wanted to do something with it. And everybody knew Josh for cutting hair in the trap houses, at friends' houses, just coming over cutting hair. So I got the skill to do it. And they need a haircut, and I need a couple bucks, so I was cutting everybody's hair. Well, everybody was telling me, you need to go do something with that, and since you like doing it, well, when I was a kid, my grandpa was a barber, and I wanted just to go be a barber because I like cutting hair. I got out of CBCF, and needless to say, I went to Ohio State University Barber College and graduated.
Wow, and you've been sober since?
I've been sober since. January 3rd was my 3-year sobriety mark.
Congratulations. It's
Thanks.
incredible.
So after I got my diploma,
yeah, what's life look like today?
Life's looking good, man. I don't hang out with nobody no more. I got a nice family. I have a beautiful daughter that's 7 months old. Her name is Lillian. I got a great girlfriend that keeps me in line, that keeps me in check. She's not soft-hearted. She ain't gonna let shit roll over, She calls me all my bullshit. I'm a great dad. I stay at home with the kids. Just recently, because I just lost a job, but I'm in the mix looking for another job because my car's fixed now. But Yeah, I've been with her for about 2 years, and it's it's really like a foundation that I've always wanted. You know, it's home.
It's amazing.
It's where life
It
is.
feels real.
Life has been good. I haven't been in trouble in 3 years. I haven't been in trouble with the law. When I got out of that Franklin County stuff, I didn't know that I still had a warrant out in Madison County for misdemeanor. Okay, so I'm at this girl's house, you know, that I'm with now, and I tell her, look, you know, you're pregnant. I got this warrant. I want to take care of this warrant
Mm-hmm.
before my daughter gets here. I called and turned myself in instead of running anymore.
Good for you.
I felt like it was time to do this for my kids.
So
you
you had to
know,
do-
she's going to carry on my name. Like, this is my daughter's
Yeah.
coming. I'm trying to have a clean slate, wipe clean for the world for her. I don't want to look over my shoulders no more. So what I did is I contacted them. I said, listen, I didn't know that, you know, I was still on, you know, I had a warrant for my arrest here because I was just in Franklin County
Right.
and they released me. I thought I was clean,
Yep.
but obviously not. She says, well, I want to set a court date up. I came into court. They wanted me to pay this fine of like almost $700 to get this swept under the rug. I worked and worked and worked and worked, and I paid this shit off. I paid that probation
That's
off.
awesome.
My daughter was born. I was working. I have nothing to look over my shoulder. My life is great today. I got a license. I got a nice car.
Dude, and the thing
It's-
is, man, if you keep doing what you're doing, it's only going to get
It's
better.
great, man. I don't even think about the drugs. There's no trigger for me on anything
The obsession has
anymore.
been removed.
Yeah, it's definitely been misplaced with something else, you know, which is my daughter that
If
changed
there
me,
was a
and
message you could send to anybody out there watching this who's still struggling, or you know, somebody who is associated with a person in active addiction, what would it be?
just keep fighting. It has to do with the willpower and the want. If you want to do it for yourself, then you will do it. But if you don't want to get clean, you won't get clean. I feel that anybody in the world can get clean. You just got to put your mind to it. And if you need support, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody, because there's
you have
several
to ask.
people out there that would want to help, or that would have your back, or be a sponsor as yourself, or
Yeah.
you know, somebody that would be a mentor or anything. Like, people care out in the world today about the drug addiction rather than seeing people just OD and die and their families missing them. You know,
And that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing.
there's
man.
more to life than drugs, dude. And I found that, and I found happiness with my girlfriend and her son, which is handicapped. I helped take care of him. He's
Wow.
had, you know, heart surgery, intestinal surgery, rectal surgery. He's handicapped, so I helped take care of him. And then
That's
I have my
awesome.
daughter, and I live out in Mount Vernon. I got away from Columbus. I haven't touched anything since.
Are you happy?
I'm definitely happy.
That's the most
I
important
am happy.
thing.
I'm in love. I feel them feelings that I never thought I was gonna feel again. I got hope again. You know, it all came back to me.
Dude, congratulations. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, man.
Really inspirational, great story.
Thanks.
Yeah, dude, thank you.
Appreciate it.